All right, let's get started.
Okay. Sound effects right off the bat.
I know, and adjusting the mic at the same time.
Right, of course.
Of course. So, hi everyone, welcome back to the Elevenses Pekoe podcast. I'm your host, Abby, and...
I'm Rachel.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
So, let's just go ahead and start right into some just gibberish talk, you know, just like something to warm us up.
Of course. Kind of that gibberish.
So, our plan today is to do our podcast, and we kind of changed what we wanted to do, because I know on the previous podcast, but we talked about doing something else, like Fahrenheit 451 or something, correct?
But we lied.
So we decided to do Love, Simon, and Simon versus the Homosapien Agenda, the novel and the book.
I like to call this Simon versus Simon.
Simon versus Simon. So that's probably what we're going to call the podcast.
Yeah, it's my brainchild.
Yeah, absolutely. And so today, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about. Mm-hmm. We tried to decide if we wanted to do Fahrenheit 451. We also decided, but the movie we were kind of getting bored of.
That I actually watched more of it.
You did?
Yeah.
Does it get better?
No.
Oh, that's all.
We could talk about that another
day.
The
2018 version or the 1964
version?
Okay, just to clarify for the audience, though, because there's two.
Straight up trash. I'm sorry.
Oh yes, because yesterday I was hanging out with you, and I was I was coloring my mom's hair, and we were watching like a little bit of the 2018 version with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Definitely not the book whatsoever, because like in the movie he comes across as this like, yeah, I'm Guy Montang, I'm a badass, blah blah blah. But in the book he's super composed and like. And
Clarice is like
a weirdo. It
kind of felt like the movie equivalent of like a Disney child star trying to be edgy.
Yeah.
Like every time like a character in the movie cussed or whatever, it just felt like not natural. It was like kind of like
it felt forced.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Like the movie felt very forced, in my opinion.
And the worst part that made me so mad is when they had the buildings and they had people dropping like heart reacts.
Yeah, like you know, like on Instagram when you live stream, you can do heart reacts or something, or even on VLive, which is a Korean.
So I was like, it's not the dystopian future I want.
Yeah, it was stupid. So they were dropping hearts, like these little blue hearts. I'm like, this isn't what? This doesn't make any sense.
And the kids all being like, burn the books. Oh, because the book was so good, and I'll have to watch that. I think it was in the 1960s.
Yeah, 1964.
Maybe I'll watch that one, and hopefully it's better, because the 2018 one was just
it was straight terrible. Trash, and I was just like, you know, I have nothing against Michael B. Jordan, like.
I really like him.
I liked him in Black Panther, but that was it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was just, like... I thought his, like, even in his character in, what was it, Black Panther, I felt like, oh, this is just Michael B. Jordan playing himself.
Well, because the book, when it was written, was a political statement, but I feel like the movie was trying to make a different political statement than the book was trying to make.
Yeah, they were trying to make a statement that, like, oh, like, the book's bad, blah. But, like, they did it in a way, but in the book, they did it in a way where it was, like, really understandable. And, like, oh, okay, I get where they're coming from. I can see why it's hazardous to society, blah, blah, blah. But, again, we could talk about that another time.
Yes.
Just to kind of delve in, just to give you a little taste of it.
There's a lot of salt.
And then my mom, who actually does listen to our podcast, my family did sidetrack. They side note, actually, they were on a trip to like a condo upstate, and they listened to our podcast. Everyone, all my aunts and uncles and my cousins and my grandparents all listened to our podcast, and they really liked it.
Okay.
And they said that they want to send us suggestions. And my mom said that we should talk about Cher sometime, the Cher musical we saw a couple days ago.
Oh, heck yes.
Like, it can't just dedicate one whole podcast to it, but we can definitely talk about different, like, musicals we've seen.
Yeah, like biggest costume budget in the world.
Oh my god, absolutely.
But those were some fantastic costumes.
I know, like, they did such a good job, because, like, they covered pretty much almost every single outfit that Cher has worn in her career.
And
especially
they did
the Sony Cher
well.
show.
I mean, that was some good execution.
Oh, absolutely. It was awesome, especially because, like, the giant, like, Native American headdress, they put that on a guy instead of a girl. Like, that was, like, everything.
Oh, that was hilarious.
It was funny. Yeah. It was a really, really funny, good sense of humor. It was very witty.
And what I want to know, though, is, so the way the musical works is they actually have 3 different actresses portraying Cher.
Yeah.
But how do they find 3 actresses that sounded like Cher is what I want to know. Like, they didn't just have to find one, which seems like an insurmountable task as it is, but they found 3.
Yeah, it's because when Cher sings, she sings from the back of her throat and, like, purely from her diaphragm, and her vibrato is very prominent.
You can do a Cher.
Yeah, I'll share that another time. Share another time. Ha.
Ha ha ha. We're here for the puns.
Finn just looked at me like, why'd you snap at me, woman? She has a Chihuahua dachshund, and he's so cute.
He's a good he's napping.
We call him Smeagol.
We kept him up late. We sure do.
Yeah, we were up late last night talking.
And watching Game of Thrones.
Yes, another review we're going to possibly do.
Oh, possibly. Of course.
We got to tease it for the audience.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, possibly.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
It's possible that we've thought it out. We want to do one book per season review.
But it's only just maybe.
It's a maybe. Sure. We've already kind of discussed what characters we like so far. I've seen the show 4 times.
The White Walkers are bae.
They're pretty freaking awesome. They're like badass, and once you see some of the characters, especially execute like their fighting styles and the way they speak to each other, and when things get like a little more in depth, and like really like expand into like the plot and who the characters are and everything, you're just like totally invested. After the first episode, you're invested.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I imagine that everyone that listens to this podcast is all caught up with Game of Thrones, or at least read the books.
Whereas I'm not, because I'm a plebeian. Can I say that? A plebeian. That's not allowed vocabulary for this show.
Fine.
Sorry.
For those who don't know what plebeian is, it's pleb. You're welcome, 4chaners.
Thank you for... No, we love you, 4chan. Don't hurt us.
No, we love 4chan.
Don't hurt us.
Yeah, don't hurt us. We love 4chan.
But, yeah, which is kind of cool because Abby gets to watch me as I mean, I know spoilers, who doesn't, but Abby gets to watch me as I learn all the ins and outs.
And I like tell you like little fun facts about like, oh yeah, this character, this is their background, and like, oh, the White Walkers, or the others in the books as they're called, they're blah blah blah, they have like swords of ice. Like I was pointing, I'm like, oh, isn't that so cool? And you're like, yeah, that's so cool. And like I would ask her periodically throughout the episodes, like, how do you like it? Because you know, Rachel's a little baby, and she doesn't
a little babby.
She's not the biggest fan of like gore and like the sex scenes and stuff like that.
Which in the books it doesn't have to be, because books it's on paper, it's not actual visual. Like it paints a picture, but it's not actual visual.
Yeah.
And you can kind of skim past it. But when it's a show, it's like, oh my god,
it's like a little invasive. It's like you're invading on a private time.
Yeah.
But what's nice about those scenes, though, I'm not trying to defend, but just the point of them is called sexposition, where they give exposition.
I don't think I've heard that word before.
That's something that they actually coined in the show and became a norm for movies.
All right.
And in shows, it's called sexposition. It's exposition during sex scenes where they actually talk about important plot points in the show.
Like in Love Actually, Martin Freeman and that I forgot her name's characters. Have you seen Love Actually?
I have not. I still want to though. Okay. But I heard it's like a really good movie, and a lot of people like it.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm. But yes, so we're watching Game of Thrones right now. We're all nearly halfway through the first season. I know she's probably gonna binge it by herself.
I'm gonna steal her password.
Yeah, you're gonna steal my account. You could also steal my boyfriend's account. It's like totally fine. So.
It's all good in the head.
Yeah. So but that's kind of what we've been doing. So we kind of have a couple ideas of what we want to do for the next one too. So this is our official first book versus movie review.
Yes.
So this is kind of like what we want to mostly do for our podcast.
With little detours along the way that all lead back to the main path.
Oh, absolutely.
That was my poetic.
That was very poetic, Rachel.
Thank you. Call me Robert Frost, because I get that forest imagery.
Yes. No gold can stay. So, for those who don't know, for our book, if you listen carefully...
Simon versus Simon.
Those are all sticky notes in our Simon versus the Homosapien Agenda novel. Boy, oh boy, there are so many little notes that we took.
It's one of those very, very rare 0.5 out of 10 occasions in which the movie was significantly better.
Agreed.
And that almost never happens.
Sorry, I'm cracking my knuckles. I shouldn't be doing that.
It's fine. Live your life.
But yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, it's one of those rare... That almost never happens. But there were so many problems with the book where it's this total just young adult kind of cliche, and the author tried. I mean, I mean that in like a condescending way, but like she was trying to put out a message.
Yeah.
It's just the way and the characters. It's just a lot of cringe. But the movie was like
it was
really
enjoyable.
Cute. Yeah,
it was cute. It was a cute movie. They did it very well. It was a fun teen movie. It's a fun teen movie, yeah. And some of the things like to make it awkward. The actor who played Simon, he was in Everything, and he did a pretty good job portraying Simon.
I thought he was good. The actor who played Martin.
I thought he was awesome.
Which it's like you want to love Martin so much, except for the fact that he does the most scumbaggy thing in the entire world.
By the way, this is spoilers for people who have never read the book
or
never seen the novel. So what do you want to start on first? Do you want to start on digging into the book, or do you want to go into the movie first, then dig into the book?
Start with the chicken that came before the egg. The egg that came before the chicken. The book.
Okay, because this is going to be a lengthy one, especially if we start with the book first. Yes. I feel like we should start with the movie first because that'll be the easiest to talk about. Okay. Then we can point out the flaws and all the things that we had, comments.
Let's start with the positives, aka the movie, because the movie has way more positive comments.
Yes. So the movie itself, so I am not, to clarify, I am not a huge fan of rom-coms. I'm not a big fan of like romantic teen movies.
Yeah, I was about to say teen rom-coms.
Yeah. But I got where they're coming from. The actors, who I don't know their names. I'm sorry. I should have pulled it up, a list and everything.
Here, let's go to our friend IMDb whilst she talks.
Yes, they did a good job. The actor who played Simon did a very good job portraying a teenager, though he looked like he had the flu.
Oh, no.
Which made me feel sad, because, like, he looked very tired throughout the movie.
Nick Robinson.
Nick Robinson. He, like I said, he was in the movie Everything. And he was adorable. I was like, aw, he did a good job portraying, like, a typical homosexual teenage boy. He did a very good job doing that.
Well, because it wasn't, what's the word I'm thinking of? He didn't go over the top with it because he played himself as a, like, human foremost. Like,
yeah,
he was Simon and...
That's it.
Yeah.
He was Simon and that's it.
Yeah.
The actors who played his friends, Nick, who is, like, his soccer-obsessed and guitar-playing friend, by the way, doesn't play a single chord in the movie, by the way.
I don't even think that... Does he even talk about soccer in the movie? Like, I feel like they didn't really do... Most of the side characters, they didn't really go into their... I don't know what I'm thinking of. Like, the sister, they did... Well, the cooking thing wasn't in the book. But they gave the sister the cooking thing, but they didn't really go into other than the musicals.
Yeah, and, like, the things that they kept from the movie, from the book... They definitely kept the fact that he was communicating with Blue, although the Blue thing was kind of, like... shown before, because the start of the book is where Martin confronts him about the emails between Blue.
Yeah.
They started like a time before that introducing the characters and who they are and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Then they talk about the emails that Martin finds. Then they also kept, the talk of the cabaret musical. They kind of kept like the...
Except in the book was Oliver. Which, it's kind of...
Yeah, that's true. It was Oliver.
Well, when you think about it, this is what's hilarious to me is... This sounds bad, but Oliver is a very male-dominated cast.
Yes.
And it was funny to me because... And I'm a theater kid. Like, I am obsessed with theater. We're both theater kids. But the thing that was... So we know all about theater. So in the book, he was like... Oh, I play, like, one of the orphans or Fagin's kids. Mm-hmm. And I was like, there is absolutely zero... Oh, and he made a note on not having lines. I was like, there is zero chance, because I've done theater most of my life, there's zero chance that this is a boy in a High School Musical in a male-dominated cast, and he has zero lines, which is such a nitpicky thing, but I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Like, me, I love musicals, but I'm not to the point where you know everything about it. I've done one musical my entire life. I've been to a handful of musicals.
Wait, what musical did you do?
I did Aladdin. It was in 5th grade, though, but it was very fun. We did it at the Rouse Center. What?
I said you were a boo. Just kidding.
Yes. No, I was actually, what was it? One of the matron girls. I was an extra for a lot of different parts.
Yeah.
A 10-year-old, But we did it at the Rouse Center, and
fun.
And that was really, really fun because that theater is really beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like, it's really small, but it's really nice and really good for concerts. But I mean, like, for me personally, the movie left out the gay bar scene. They left about,
which is probably
for the better.
Because it's a teen rom-com, and I think there are certain things that
cross the line.
Certain parents might watch and be like, because, like, the guy in the book was older than Simon.
Significantly.
Which, Yes, and he doesn't try anything at all in the book. He's just kind of, which that seems good because he's kind of like, oh no, like you're underage, go home, blah, blah, which is good, but I can still see if they put that in the movie, there might be certain parents I'd be like,
Yeah, especially because they would kind of like consider that as him making a move on Simon, which no, that's not what he was trying to do. He was just trying
bar scene in general too.
Yeah, and that character who talked to Simon, the guy at the gay bar, and his friends, they were all just trying to have fun with Simon because apparently he looked like their friend Alex or something, and they were just having fun and stuff. They weren't trying to make any moves on him. They weren't trying to like sleep with him. They just were having fun with him because he's another guy that's at a gay bar, and that's just kind of what it came across as. But I can understand how it could come across as something that is inappropriate, and especially for parents, because again, it's a teen rom-com movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie versus book kind of comparison.
Which you can't say, oh, it's because of the underage drinking, because this movie had underage drinking. Every teen movie glorifies underage drinking, honestly.
Yeah, like, I even have done a little bit of underage drinking, but I was...
Don't drink underage, kids.
Yes, don't...
Wait till you're 21.
Unless you're under your parents' roof and they allow it, then, like...
Yeah.
Like, a sip of wine, then whatever. I mean, like, when we were kids, I don't want to, like, throw shade at my dad because I love him and I love my family. But, like, he would give us, like, sips of beer when we were kids. But, like...
That's, like, he wasn't like...
Whatever. I mean, like, it's whatever. But
some
anyway...
Jaeger.
Just have a Jaeger bomb. But anyway, I mean, like, they did show underage drinking. They did change quite a few things, though. Like, things in, like, compared to the book. Like,
and
especially
a lot of it for the better.
Ooh, I like...
Leah was way better
in the
movie.
Yeah, Leah. Ooh, I want to go throw dirt on Leah in the book. I did not like her character.
And they kept doing the manga thing. Like, they would make these random little comments about, like, oh, the kids reading manga and stuff like that. And then there was, like, the scene where...
It was a Halloween party.
It was a Halloween party. And I don't know why it cracked me up so much, but in the book where she goes to the Halloween party.
Yeah, but right here.
And they're like, oh, what are you dressed up as? And she's like, Toru from Fruits Basket. And, like...
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. What the hell are you supposed to be? A Dementor, I say. What in God's holy name is that? A Dementor? From Harry Potter?
Everyone knows what a Dementor is. Sorry, continue.
I know, idiots. Well, put your hood back for the love of Jesus. And who are you supposed to be? Kim Kardashian, says Leah, just completely deadpan. Garrett looked confused. Toru from Fruits Basket? It's a manga, she says. I thought that was completely stupid and unnecessary. Because Fruits Basket is one of our favorite mangas we actually bonded over.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And just kind of...
bonded over a lot of things.
No one will know unless they're invested in, like, anime and stuff. Especially because, like, Naruto's so popular, and Bleach, and Inuyasha, and all these different shows.
Well,
One
because
Piece.
There was kind of the shift from nerds are terrible to, like, nerds are the special snowflakes, and we're cooler than everyone.
Yeah, because, like, you know everything.
And they don't understand. And, like, this is coming from nerds.
This is coming from, like total geeks.
If I'm going to Comic-Con and I post a picture of me with someone who is cosplaying and someone's like, who is that? I'm not going to be like, it's whoever from
It's so-and-so from XYZ.
Right?
I mean, how can you not know
that? I'd be like, oh, yeah, it's from this really cool thing and blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, no one cares anymore. Yeah. Unless, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in certain areas they do.
Yeah. I like the actress who played Abby, though. She was really cute.
Yeah, I think everyone in the cast, I think, did a really good job. Okay, the teacher, though. What was his name?
Oh, the vice principal?
Yes, him.
He wasn't even in the book. There's this vice principal character that, like, Simon, like, keeps interacting with.
Yeah.
He's, like, got really good intentions. He's trying to look out for the students and try to make sure they're doing things right, but he also wants to be relevant and, like, be cool with the kids. He's, like, cool with the kids kind of thing, even though, like, parents and adults don't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
They just kind of, like, look the other way, like, okay, this is our kids just doing this.
Did you notice that they switched it in the book? Simon was the one who was all, like, Oreos, and they switched it in the movie that Bram was the Oreo one.
Yeah, spoilers, by the way. Bram is blue. Bram was blue. And they made
You don't even need a spoiler. If Bram's in the trailer, you could probably watch a trailer and be like, blue!
Blue! By the way, for, like, the movie premiere or whatever, he dyed his hair blonde and went full on, like, gold.
It was kind of cool.
I know, he looked so badass. I was like, oh my god. Like, that's the word I keep using today. I'm sorry.
But I don't like, sometimes I don't necessarily want it to be too obvious, but I don't mind it if you can put the pieces together yourself.
Yes.
As opposed to, like, where did that come from?
But, you know, at least the book kind of kept it ambiguous because, like, in the beginning of the movie, he thought it was Bram, but he got thrown off because he saw him kissing another girl, so he's like, okay, never mind. Then he thought it was going to be Cal. He thought it was going to be this guy from Waffle House. He even thought it was Martin at one point in the book. But in the book, they made it super obvious that it was Bram within the first half of the book.
Which, you know, so did the movie, yeah.
Versus the movie, it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I can totally see it being Bram, blah, blah, blah. And the Oreos thing, I don't really know. I mean, like, he thought it was Bram in the beginning. He got disheartened because he saw him kiss another girl, and it turns out it actually was Bram. And he had, like, other options to look at.
That scene was weird to me.
Which one?
That Bram was kissing the other girl.
Like he said, he was drunk and confused.
Right.
But that's, like, his excuse. I feel like that's, like, every excuse in a book, in a movie or book like that. Like,
right, because you need, like, the little red herring, which I can get.
Yeah, you get that.
It just was kind of like, I think it's because we read the book was the reason it was jarring, where I was like, wait a second, what's happening?
I honestly think that the actress who played Leah, who is also in 13 Reasons Why, by the way, I'm never watching that show. No.
I saw a couple episodes. I don't want to make people angry, so I won't say anything.
No, honestly, like, there's a book to TV show comparison, but I am not really comfortable doing it.
I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think I understand what it's trying to do.
Throw shade, sweetie. Throw shade.
It romanticizes a lot of things. It romanticizes depression. It romanticizes
suicide.
I mean, it really does, because it makes it seem like this noble venture. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to make it seem that way just because you don't want people doing it. But I can understand, like, there may have been people it helped. And if it helped even one person, obviously it did its job.
But then again, there's also those people that actually did commit suicide after watching the show. There was a spike in suicide, apparently. And I was like, that's really sad. I did not know that. It spiked and then dropped. Yeah. And that's really unfortunate because yeah. I don't really know. I mean, I could be wrong. I thought I saw it somewhere. I don't have any credit because we're not really talking about this show. But that's one thing I'm not going to cover is 13 Reasons Why. That's something I'm not comfortable with.
But Catherine Langford, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. I could be wrong.
The one who played Leah?
She's a very good actress.
She is. And she's really cute. She's really cute. You're really cute in, like, the more, like, normal way.
I love her hair.
Oh, yeah. Her hair is gorgeous. We're both cosmetologists, so we can't help but comment on stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, we're also girls. I mean, come on.
But she was much, much more likable.
Yes.
In the movie.
In the movie, yes. We can go ahead and throw dirt on her, like I said, when we talk about the book, because that's going to be an adventure.
There were a couple things where, so, for example, when Simon is outed in the movie by Martin, and he goes to pick his friends up, and they were mad at him because
they lied to him, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I was kind of like, I mean, I guess they're teenagers, but I was kind of like, why are you, like, I get that it's upsetting that he lied to, what's his name? Nick,
Abby, and Leah.
Abby, that Abby liked someone else, but I feel like if that was my friend and I understood the context, like, oh, you were trying not to get outed, I don't think, but they're teenagers. I don't think I would have been as angry.
Personally, he does explain himself and why, but they don't take him for face value. They take it as a personal attack. They don't see it from his shoes. They see it from their own. They're not willing to look at it from his perspective.
Because that's such a huge thing, and especially because the way he was outed, and it wasn't of his own volition, and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that should have been the priority over, like, I get why they would be upset about it, but...
Yeah, at that part,
and I get
honestly, that was, like, one of the few parts that bothered me in the movie. Everything else was, like, totally fine. Like, I could literally sit through that movie and watch it and be fine, but I know that there's a couple things. Everyone has problems with the movie or book, but I thought this movie was fine. Overall, I give it, like, a rating of, like, a 5 out of 10.
I thought it was cute, too, that
Final put it to,
people in the school, for the most part, other than the one scene where the two guys
make fun of Simon. And they pretend to, like, be, like, gay. So
the majority of everyone was very supportive, and the fact that, too, like, at the end, Simon, like, had inspired a couple other people on the Creek Secrets to kind of...
Oh, yeah, they have a Tumblr page called Creek Secrets, and they keep
The Tumblr, as it calls in the book.
Yeah, in the book, they keep referring to it as the Tumblr, but carry on.
But, it like inspired other people to be more open and stuff like that. And I like that because it's a feel-good thing. It's like he gets to be out and open and he inspires other people. And it was just a feel-good movie. It was funny that everyone like gathered at the Ferris wheel.
Oh yeah, by the way, for context, the setting is near Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
So in this day and age, you know, in the South, it's not as bad as people think it is. You lived in Tennessee for a while.
Certain areas, you would really be surprised. Like, I had, there were certain things when I lived in the South, especially when I was in Mississippi, and, so, like, a lot of people, I'm not like the South, a lot of people are great and amazing, but there were certain times where I was like, what year is it? With the things I heard people say.
Yeah, I can understand that. And like again, I'm not from Georgia. I'm not from Detroit. I'm not from the Mississippi. I'm not from Kentucky. So I don't know how the South works technically. But the way that they portrayed it in the books was kind of ridiculous. But in the movie, like, okay, yeah, there's a couple guys making fun of Simon, blah blah blah, whatever, being stupid jocks.
Yeah. Do you know what I liked in the movie was when he came out to Abby and he was like, does that surprise you? And she was like, no. And he was like, oh, so you knew already? And she was like, no. And he was like, but does it surprise you? And she was like, no. She's just like, you're Simon. And that's not either or, like, either which way.
Yeah, that's a typical response now. Like, like if you came out to me, I'd be like, oh, okay. Are you surprised? No. Did you know? No. Like, I'd just be, like, nonchalant about
it. And I
it.
like that. And that's the thing is, I think the movie was a little bit more... And I understand
realistic.
That there's still a lot of issues. I mean, the Orlando shooting.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot behind it. And I might not be properly educated. I think it's the way the book just kind of...
Yeah.
Said certain things. I was like, okay.
Yeah, because, like, you can definitely tell. And to clarify, this was written by a middle-aged straight woman in the perspective of a 17-year-old gay boy's body.
Do you know what I think it is there's a difference between... awareness and pandering, and there's a very fine line. So there's saying the awareness, and these are still the issues that are had, stuff like that. And there's kind of just like, we're pandering, and there's a very fine line between the two. And some people maybe they're trying to make the awareness, and it comes across as pandering instead. And there were just certain like things we marked where we were like, okay,
like as you heard, if you hear over here.
All the sticky notes.
Many sticky notes.
That's
how many do we have? We have all the ones that are labeled for our problems we had, pandering issues, mentions of blue, and like that's it. And then things that particularly made us angry. That was.
I just think there's sometimes, like I think you have certain. I'm trying to think of the way to word this. Like, not every middle-aged person can write about teens today. Yeah,
like I know that was kind of like something I struggled with understanding. But then I thought again of like J.K. Rowling when she was in the perspective of a teenage boy, like Harry Potter. He was from preteen to teenhood is when she has perspective.
Or like John Green. Different people, different. I
mean, like,
a whole thing about John Green.
That's opening up. Honestly, this kind of topic is kind of opening up a can of worms.
Oh yeah.
You know, we like when I'm writing books, I mostly write in the perspective of a boy because boys, for me, boy characters are more interesting, and that's just kind of like just what I grew up on because like Harry Potter had a boy character, or like I'm trying to think of another book, Lord of the Rings. It came from a perspective of technically a third person of a male.
Yeah, and we're talking about Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin, he writes from several different perspectives,
and he does a great job doing it.
Yeah, like I think when he takes on like Arya or Daenerys and stuff like that, I can totally buy that it's the character.
Yeah.
And some of it comes from experience and some of it comes from reading. Like, how many books has the author read that is from the perspective of...
You know, I just realized, I think the reason that George R.R. Martin, J.K. Rowling, and J.R.R. Tolkien, the reason they do it so well is because their characters aren't obsessed with themselves. Yeah. Versus Simon being kind of more obsessed with himself and his awareness of everything around him in his bubble. J.K. Rowling... talks about the world through her characters. George R.R. Martin talks about the world through his characters. What the author does...
Tolkien talks about his world.
Tolkien.
He just talks about his world.
He just talks about his world. He barely talks about the characters.
He's a world builder, and I love it, and I adore it, because sometimes I'm way more about world building than the story. Sometimes I'll read a book, and I'll just go online, or like I'll get the books about the world building, because I want to know, like, how did you create these things? How did you create the languages? How did you create the lore? Like, that to me is so fascinating.
Oh yeah, especially if you look up like George R. R. Martin, how he came up with the Dothraki, how he came up with the Targaryens,
yeah, like
and the
Dothraki
Dothraki language, and everything.
Is that what it is? Like the 7 faces of the gods or something like that?
The 7-faced god,
and like anointing with the 7 oils. Like, that's so cool. Like, you can just come up with that. Yeah. But some of it comes from, you do research, you do a lot of reading, and I've read so many things from different authors. Where they're like, you have to read and read and read, and that is how you become a good author, because that's how you collect the information. Yeah. And I just think, and like, several people in this world can portray teens amazingly, whether or not you're a teen. Just like, if I write a book from a perspective of someone who's older than me and I haven't been there yet in my life, I would just have to read books upon books and do this study and collect those thoughts. I don't know how well I would say this author did getting into the mind of the teen. I feel like it's someone writing from the perspective of how they think teens today.
Yeah, because, like, I don't know if this author definitely had any children or had any relatives. I felt like she had friends growing up that are gay and stuff like that, or people that she knew. But I don't think she did enough research to understand. And, that I think that's the reason why we both struggle so much, is because and nothing wrong with writing, books, like, opinions are ambiguous and everything like that, but I felt like she didn't do enough research. I felt like she didn't, I feel like this is kind of like written in one day kind of book.
Okay, this is where I can get on my high horse rant. Books today, not all of them, but a lot of books today read like first draft. Like, I feel like they lost the focus on the language. Yes. Like, when you look back on Charles Dickens or Victor Hugo or Arthur Conan Doyle, it's all about the language. It's all about the word choices and how you portray it and put the words together. And so many books these days, you open it and it's like, we ripped the paper off our straw and stuck it in our seat. Like, there's no
elegance.
There's no perfume behind it. Yeah,
it doesn't have a flow like it used to. And like, it's just like staccato statements. It's just like, I did this, period. And then this happened, period. This is happening right now, period. Then this will happen later, period. It's
many books like the Simon vs. the Homosapien Agenda, I Am Number 4. You could probably think of more. You read them and you're like, oh, this book was written to become a movie.
Oh, absolutely. They don't think about writing a book anymore. They think about writing a prophet. Yeah. And that's kind of something that I have issues with too. It's like when I read Maze Runner, that's like one of my least favorite books ever. I didn't like that book because it was boring. It wasn't going anywhere. The only character I liked was I don't remember, Reek or something, or Reed. I don't know. Thomas Sangster played him in the movie.
Wait, what are you thinking of?
Maze Runner.
Oh,
girl. That. Oof.
I read that book on a plane, and the person sitting next to me literally at one point was like, you don't like that book, do you? Because just the facial expressions I was making. I was like, no. And so many people liked it. There was so much hype.
Okay. Yes, they came out with 2 movies, and then, no, they came out with the first movie I saw marketing for. Then the second movie, like, no marketing for. And then they made the third movie and then marketing for that. I'm like, wow, this really failed. It's like when they tried to make the City of Bones series, like the Mortal Instruments series movies. That did not go well. Because I tried to read Mortal Instruments. I got bored. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, too, that I'm like, it's a lot of young adult books that feel like there are adult books, too, but that feel that way. And I'm like, no, teens deserve more. And there are a lot who do, like Rick Riordan,
yeah.
Kathy Carlos, or Marcus Zuzak. Or...
You know what? Neil Shusterman. He is one of the best authors of today's day.
Yes.
Of today's time. Because he wrote The Schwa Was Here, Full Tilt. He wrote the Everlost series. He wrote the Unwind series. He's writing the Scythe series right now. I've read so many of his books, and he's honestly one of my favorite current YA authors or young adult authors, because he knows how to write characters. He knows how to write a world, and that's why he is a good author. He's not like a J.R.R. Tolkien, but he's on his own level of expertise when it comes to writing his own novels. Personally, I am reading the Scythe series right now. Okay. I'm in love with it. I read the first book within a day, and that book is like 500 pages. Yeah. And then I'm reading the Everlost series later. I read The Schwa Was Here in middle school. That was a fantastic book. I love that book. Full Tilt, I read in middle school. Fantastic book, too. Neil Shusterman's great. Rick Riordan is great. There are lots of authors in this.
Have you ever read the Inkheart series?
No, I want to.
You'll have to, because I think when I was, like 9 or something, like that was my introduction to, oh my goodness, this is language. This is writing. This is putting a story together.
You know, I've heard that, like, I'm also reading the, what is it? Golden Compass series. I'm reading that. That's a good series, too.
Okay. You'll have to we'll do Inkheart, because I think you'll absolutely love it. But running back to it, this book, what's her name? Becky.
Albertalli.
Yeah,
Becky
it
Albertalli.
Felt like a first draft.
It did. It felt rushed. It felt like it was written in a day. It was thrown at a publisher. And then, this is me throwing shade. I don't want to get controversial, but they're like, oh, gay character. Okay. Instantly published.
Which, it's...
Stigma.
The story idea, it's a good story idea.
Yeah.
It's a good concept. I think the movie executed it better than the book did.
Yeah, because they incorporated it into the plot better versus it being, like,
separate chapters. It just gone straight to a movie. Yeah. Which I usually don't say that. But with a lot of the books that come out now, they're written to become movies, and sometimes they're bad books, and then they're bad movies.
Yes. Sorry to derail a little bit, but it's kind of like showing how we both feel about books and novels.
Because it's important.
Yeah, it's very important. And, like, honestly, the movie did really good flow when it came to talking about Blue and Simon's emails. He's under the alias Jacques in the books, but, you know, they did a very good flow of incorporating it and everything. I love that they added, like, a bluey hue, like a bluish filter to who they potentially thought who Blue was. Yeah. They added, like, a very nice, soft, glowy blue hue to it that made it felt cold, but also felt really warm and inviting.
I also like that in the movie he wasn't as adamant about, I want to know who you are. Tell me who you are. Simon wasn't, because in the book he kept being like, Blue, tell me who you are.
Blue, who are you? Blue, are you Cal? Are you this guy? No, I'm not. Are you gonna love me because you think I'm this person? Blah blah blah. But I'm not this person. Like, okay. Overall, TLDR. Long story short. The book was fine. The movie was fine. It was good. It was fine. Yeah. You know, my sister liked it. My sister's 13. So she's all about that kind of stuff. Personally, she liked it. I thought it was fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was just fine.
Good acting. I think it was a good quality teen rom-com. I don't always like...
I feel like it'll become a cult classic in a weird way.
I think so. I agree.
Yeah, not necessarily like a cult classic, but like it'll become loved by a lot of people, especially like 20 years from now. Like, oh my god,
but like I think it's a movie that'll last.
Yeah,
that won't just collect dust on a library shelf.
Yeah. As for the book, though, let's get into that. My first issue is Simon.
Oh my gosh, Simon!
I personally felt every conflict he was in, he didn't necessarily get himself out of. Everyone else did it for him. Yeah. Am I wrong? No. Right? I felt like every conflict he went through, like when he was outed by Martin, of course, which
was terrible. Martin
in the book, I loved him and hated him at the same time because Martin was a kind of comic
funny,
relief.
But it's such a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, it is a terrible thing to do because, oh no, you didn't put me with Abby. Oh, blackmail. Oh, I'm putting your emails out. By the way, there was a part where, like I said, how Simon wasn't resolving his own issues, people were doing it for him. Like when people went to their play practice and these jocks came with signs saying like, pardon my French, but fag, calling him like a faggot and like all these different things. And then he didn't do anything. He just stood there. He's just kind of watching it happen. His teacher was the one who had to do everything.
I guess it's one of those things you don't know unless you're in the situation, though.
Yeah, personally, I would just, like, turn the other cheek and ignored it. And then, like, for some reason, Abby and their classmate Taylor, like, chased them out of the room.
I kind of liked Taylor. We were supposed to hate Taylor. I kind of liked her.
Taylor is like a soft spot for us because she's supposed to be the drama queen and like the know-it-all kind of character. And she's like a show-offy kind of girl and everything. She's like, I'm a tan. I have really good metabolism. I go to Cancun. But we kind of learn to love her because it's funny.
Yeah.
She's a funny character because you can make fun of her but love her at the same time.
And she was a caring person. I mean, she was all like, no, don't you?
And I also thought Simon was kind of boring.
Yeah.
He did not shine for me.
I call it main character syndrome because you see it in Twilight, you see it in Hunger Games. Main characters are boring and don't have a personality, so you can put yourself in the place of the main character.
Yeah. There's a difference between having a silent protagonist like Link, Mario, that makes you feel like you're part of the adventure. You know what I mean? Or like more on the quieter side characters or like Jon Snow in the earlier books. He was not very talkative, but you kind of put yourself in that situation. He was very interesting.
And certain characters are supposed to be like,
yeah,
I'm going to come here and defend Twilight. Everyone's like, okay, you just trash talked teen literature and now you're defending Twilight. I don't know, but you're supposed to be Bella. That's the point, because the teens reading that, or adults, if I sound like I'm smack-talking teenagers, not at all, they're supposed to feel like they're the one in the vampire romance.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
how it's supposed to be. So Bella's kind of supposed to be a boring character.
Yeah.
But Simon, I feel like, is supposed to be he should be more multifaceted.
Yeah. So to explain the concept of a short synopsis of the story, it's about Simon and his emails
40
with
minutes
Blue.
in.
Yes.
Tell you about the story.
Just to kind of clarify a little bit.
Yeah.
He's basically exchanging emails with this mysterious alias Blue while trying to balance a social life, school life, home life, and play life. And it's basically him trying to figure out who Blue is while balancing his life. That would have been way more interesting, but it was just poorly executed. It was boring. It pissed me off. That's my issues with Simon. I felt like he was boring. I felt like any issues he's had were taken care of for him. He had no character growth.
Yeah.
And so that's my issue with just Simon. That is a small issue. I can get past that because, I can get whatever. I want to know the characters in the story. My next issue is Leah.
Oh my gosh. Insufferable in the book.
Your turn. Go talk about Leah.
I don't know. What is it? She just wasn't... She was jealous of everyone. Which insecurities? Everyone's insecure. I'm insecure. You're insecure.
Yes. Insecurity is my middle
You
name.
get insecurity. You get insecurity. But she... what's the word I'm thinking of? She put her insecurity on other people. Like, she let it affect how she treated other people and stuff like that. And she was portrayed too much as, like, I'm edgy goth girl who reads manga.
Yeah, as them in the show or in the movie, they portray her as a kind of like a normalish girl, like kind of quirky. But in the book, she's supposed to be kind of like on the darker side. I picture her as like black hair, shorter, maybe a little more on the plump side, a little emo girl, a little bit. And they had, by the way, they forgot two characters in the book to the movie. They're two girls. I can't remember their name. They were not important. They were mentioned like twice.
Manga. That was their characters.
Yeah, their characters were, we like mangas and we like to get sheet cakes for everybody for their birthdays. But
I can be down with a sheet cake.
I mean, after our podcast, we're gonna go get some lunch because we're starving.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Leah, and then she was weirdly obsessively jealous with like everybody. Yes, it was absolutely frustrating because she was so self-centered when it came to her issues. Like, she had issues with Abby. And someone asked, like, why do you have a problem with Abby? She's like, and she would, like, not give a specific reason why. But she would kind of say it, like, she would kind of, like, make cliche jokes about Abby being like, oh, she's so perfect and beautiful and blah, blah, blah. And up this. And she's like, I'm Abby Blood. She'd just make fun of Abby in that regard. And she wouldn't give a specific reason why she didn't like her. And I can understand that, especially when a new friend enters the mold. And breaks and kind of like gets in the way of your current best friendship. Like how Simon comes up to Abby first before Leah. That happens. People do it all the time. Like, I told my friend this first before you. You don't get mad at them. It
depends on what feels right in the moment, especially with something like that.
Yeah, I agree. And like and Leah was like stupidly angry with him. Like, she was like, she cut him off for a while and like it was really weird. And I was like, why? But yeah, Leah was not fun. I like Nick.
Yes.
Nick was fine. He was a funny character.
Nick was actually more of a character in the book than in the movie.
Yeah, he was in the book he played more guitar. He was very quirky and funny, and I felt like there was some chemistry between him and Abby. I feel like the movie portrayed it better than the book. Their chemistry, like their natural, like, I guess.
But I guess that's kind of a visual thing too.
Yeah, I mean, like Simon was so obsessed with himself and Blue that he didn't really like notice it. I guess,
yeah.
but Nick was fine. I don't mind Nick.
Yeah.
Abby though, I know this is not me saying that I liked Abby based because she had my name.
Mm-hmm.
And that she was a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader for like a month, but like that's not relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Abby because she was quirky.
Mm-hmm.
She was fun. She was sweet and kind and a very interesting character, and I really liked her. I felt like she was one of those characters that like once she came on screen, you're like, oh, Abby's there. Okay, I'll read her chapter. Or, like I'll read her segment. Sure. Yeah. I wasn't. Yeah. It's kind of like a pick me up in the boring soup. You know what I mean?
Leah is the Caitlin Stark of the chapters.
She is Caitlin Stark in the chapters. I feel like if the story were alphabet soup, Abby would be the chicken pieces and the noodles. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone wants to eat those chicken pieces.
Everyone else is the broth.
The story's the broth. It's kind of meh, whatever. If you don't have any noodles in it, it's kind of like, oh, it's just broth. It's just chicken. It's just chicken broth. Abby is the chicken pieces you want to eat.
That's the best thing I've heard today.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. The parents, they're fine. They're forgettable.
I liked the older sister. I can't remember her
Alice.
name. Alice.
Alice was cool. Her studded earrings that Simon had such an issue with, which I thought was really weird. Like, he had an issue because she had, like, cartilage piercings all the way up her ear. Like, it started from, like, the lobe all the way up.
And he was like, we live in, where do they live, Georgia?
Yeah, they live near Atlanta.
We live near Atlanta. We don't get studs here.
Oh, so stupid. And, like, by the way, the gay character, the gay boy of ethnicity in the movie was not in the book.
No.
Like, at all. Like, no. They kind of put him in there to kind of give Simon, like...
Yeah, I was kind of down with his inclusion.
Yeah, like, I don't mind it.
Sorry. But yawns are contagious.
I know, stupid. But anyway, so, yeah, like, his parents were fine. I loved the dad. I thought the dad was freaking funny.
I like the dad in the movie. He is a nice-looking man.
He aged very well.
Yes. Well made.
Good choice. Awesome. But I felt like the dad character in the book was super, like, sweet and funny and made a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
By the way, related to jokes, this is kind of a segue, and in my notes, I noticed this. This is what I wrote down. Okay. Why tease so many characters in the book and make fun of them, like Taylor, Martin, and all that, yet these characters get so uptight about gay jokes? Did you notice that? Am I the only one that noticed that?
Yeah. I didn't really think about that.
Like, that's like, there's a page in the book that I marked in here. I'm too lazy to look through. But it's basically on Christmas where Simon comes out to his parents and his family. Mm-hmm. They're like, his dad, wanted to ease the tension, so he's making like cute little jokes, like, oh, yeah. Like, was it who made you gay? Was your ex-girlfriend with the weird eyebrows? Was it that? He's trying to ease the tension.
And I can appreciate, kind of backtracking to the family, that it wasn't like my family. Like, I liked that he had a good family.
He had a good family, yeah.
You don't always see that in it's usually like my parents.
My parents don't like them homosexuals.
Or no, it's just like, in general, like any kind of books are like, my parents don't like my bad boyfriend with his motorcycle and his motorcycle.
But in the book,
we do weird accents. We're not making fun of anyone's accents. We just go in weird voices.
We like to make fun of Joffrey's character. We're like, ew, don't touch me.
No, stop.
Don't touch me.
Like, that's not how Joffrey talks, but it's how we do, because that's who we are as people.
Yes, but to get back on track, something I wanted to point out was that after that moment where his dad was trying to ease the tension, his sister went all like weirdly defensive and like got really weird. She's like, how could you say something like such a heterosexual comment? Like, comment that's sexist, like that's heterosexist, or like it's like just like that wasn't necessary. Understand that your dad is trying to ease the tension. Don't be so jumpy. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a point where Simon walks in drunk from the gay bar and his parents find out and they get mad at him. And then he like randomly just like says out loud like, "Oh, that awkward moment when my parents have been making gay jokes at me for 17 years." Like, and then like they mentioned earlier about like saying like, "Oh, a guy in The Bachelor is gay," and they start singing "Eternal Flame." Those are like harmless jokes. They're not saying like, "Oh, he's a FAG and he's like a huge blah blah blah," but he's a fudge packer, blah blah blah.
Oh my god!
Like hateful jokes like that. They were just trying to like, his dad is the jokester kind of character. I'm not defending nor am I disagreeing, but like I'm just saying, I'm trying to explain like my dad is a jokester kind of dad. I come from a family where we make jokes all the time, and they're harmless. It's all words at the end of the day, and that personally bothered me because I felt like that was just pandering. That's an example of pandering to me. Is like, oh, he makes a gay joke. Oh, we're gonna get mad at him and yell at him for it. Oh, defense of the gays.
It's one of those things where always depends on the context.
Yeah.
And how things are meant, and how they're... I mean, my stepsister and I make stupid jokes at each other all the time, but it's context where with each other, we know that we're both comfortable with it, and stuff like that.
Another thing I noticed that you and I had an issue with, too, to move on to another topic.
Yeah.
The sexual aggression.
Yes.
How much Simon talked about his sexual fantasies and his kind of how he talked about how he got off the fan fiction. That was a little too personal for a teen book. I can understand like sexual awakening as a teen is very normal.
Yeah.
But he went into a little too graphic a detail about laundry specifically.
Oh my gosh. It's one of those things where it's anyone can pick up, like maybe if it was like a 15 or 16-year-old and I'd be like, okay, but if I had like a 12-year-old and I picked up this book, I'd be like,
I know. I feel like I get uncomfortable personally, in my opinion, because I'm like, why is a guy talking about that? I'm a girl reading this book. I feel like it'd be fine for guys, but I feel like it'd be weird for girls because you know, like they're not, if they're especially in between the 12 to 15 demographic.
I think there are ways to do it.
Yeah, there are ways to do it to make it sound a little more elegant and natural versus being like, oh, I can't do my my mom doesn't do my laundry because my socks are all stiff.
It's so awkward.
But that's just another thing that like
it's real, yeah.
It's very real.
I mean, that's a thing, but sometimes it's like, what do we... It's just there were parts where I was like, okay, fine. But then there were parts where I was like, oh,
well, because like me, I can personally get past that because, you know, it's a teenage boy.
Yeah.
Who cares? But I can understand people like you who got uncomfortable because you don't really like to read stuff like that.
Or if I, like I said, if I had like a 12-year-old daughter, I'd be like, oh, honey, it's just because he doesn't want his mom to smell his socks, pat you on the head.
He doesn't want you to feel his socks. I'm like, why?
And she'd be like,
why
Mom,
are they all stuck?
She'd be like, Mom, I have internet access. I know what these things are.
Why are my socks stuck together? Why are these pages in this magazine stuck together?
Oh, no.
Like, it's just like stuff like that.
Too far.
Okay, we already talked about that, so I'm just going through my book a little bit.
I liked that in certain areas, the way she wrote friendships did seem pretty genuine. Like,
yeah, I get that. Like the way that, especially that Simon and Leah interacted, you know, or Leah, I don't know, Leah, how they interacted was very natural and cute. I knew that, and like it's super obvious in the books that Leah was in love with him, but they made it. But she actually does say it in the movie.
She never said in the book.
There's a moment though where they're at the Halloween party and they were hugging and stuff, and she said something in his shoulder.
It was suggested.
It was suggested that she liked him. It was very obvious for me, but in the movie, she straight up says, "I was in love with you, Simon," and that's something I'm like, "Yep, that I thought so." And
Can I ask what happened to Kale? Because
that's true. Where did Kale go?
Where did he
go?
He got beamed up by aliens.
He got beamed up by Scotty.
It was like there's a whole thing where Simon has a crush on him for a bit, and then Simon is outed, and Kale's like, "Hey, let's hang out," and then you never see him again. See him in the movie, actually.
Yeah, you see him for like a second, but then because
there's actually the spin-off story where it's
about Leah and her
Kale. Bike. No, it's about Kale's alien abduction, and he has to navigate Mars.
No, but actually, the author did write a book about Leah's perspective, her being bi.
What?
I know. I never read it. I'm not planning on reading it. I don't want to read it. I'm good.
What?
I dealt with a couple days of torture. I think I'm good with that.
I love how authors do that a lot. And they're like, let's take this book. Like, what's her name? Let's take 50 Shades of Grey and put it from Christian's perspective.
Yeah. So, sorry to, like, cut you off, but, like, I wrote notes here to kind of, like...
Oh, yeah.
So I can kind of delve into that. If you want, you can delve into your notes as well, since you have talked...
A lot of the things that you've hit on are my notes.
I know. She and I had a lot of the same...
Like, cliched characters, follow high school tropes, nerd girls wearing heavy eyeliner and makeup, TARDIS. Oh, yeah, they'd be weird. I'm like, and they were still talking about the TARDIS. Simon, talk about the TARDIS with them. Okay, there are a lot of good things to say about the TARDIS.
Well, he's not a Doctor Who fan, though. He's not like your typical... He's not a nerd. He's just a boring guy. He's just like, hi, I'm Simon. I like Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy fanfiction, and that's why my socks are all stiff. I also like this guy named Blue, who I don't know.
And perfect grammar.
Yes. Although I gotta say, Blue or Bram, he had pretty good...
He did.
He was very good at messaging and had very eloquent and nice language.
I'm sure he would. See, fan fiction, it's hard to find good fan fiction. So, Bram would probably write the quality Harry and Draco fan fiction.
Yes, he definitely would.
Because we all had our fan fiction days. I had my fan fiction days.
Oh my god, yes we did. Yes,
I
did.
Wrote Merlin fan fiction in my youth.
I used to be into South Park fan fiction.
I like the
There's nothing bad. Just like one character interacting with another.
But you've got to really dig through to find the good stuff.
Yeah.
And like no lemons and all that.
I mean, there's Wattpad now, but we didn't have Wattpad back then.
But it was I was all about the Merlin fan fiction because I was so mad at season 5, where I was like, let's delve into the land of fan fiction and see people's alternate endings of Arthur's return. So that was my youth. Wrote a couple myself.
My youth. My youth is yours. Sipping on skies, sipping waterfalls. My youth. Another gay singer, Troye Sivan. Good stuff.
Oh yeah, he's good.
Yeah, but to get back to notes, so
back to notes.
I'm just looking through to see if there's anything else that I wanted to cover. Oh, that's what made me laugh.
Before we eat food.
Number 3, character development in all caps. Absolutely none. No characters grow. They have no moments to show growth, learning, and hardships, etc. Characters are forgettable and bland.
Bram had more character growth than anyone.
He did. Like as Blue, yeah, he definitely grew a lot. Yeah, Simon came out to his parents. Yeah, he came out to his friends. Yeah, so and so, blah blah blah. Whatever.
Which are big things. But I don't think he really learned how to treat his friends differently or anything like that.
No.
Like he had that character arc, but when it came to like friendship stuff, like it's not important. It's not what the book is about. We don't need it.
Yeah, no kidding. Another thing. No clever hints or clues. Not subtle enough to let the reader figure out themselves. Let's see. What else did I write? My cursive is so scratchy. All characters, all hints and stuff, told before the reveal that Blue is a bland Jewish soon-to-be sibling versus Graham being quiet. What did I write here? Well, a soccer player. I mean, an Oreo lover. I mean, like, it's like...
No. Simon likes the Oreos.
They both like Oreos. Like, Simon was prescribing him, like, an all-Oreo diet. I thought that was kind of funny, though, that little part. Like, he's like, you have to eat an all-Oreo diet.
They were cute.
And I was eating Oreos as I was reading that, and I just put the Oreo down after that.
They were cute.
They were cute.
But at the end of the movie, when he's like, we're going on an adventure, I was like, no, go to school, kids.
Go to school, children. You need your education. No, but, like, in the movie, or the book, they made it more subtle. Like, instead of it being this big, everyone around watching, observing, it was Simon going to the park.
Yeah.
Or going to the festival, seeing his friends, then going off by himself to the Tilt-A-Whirl, waiting for Blue. Bram shows up, he sits with them. It's just them. It's their little moment together. Mm-hmm. And it was so cute. Like, I thought that moment was so cute. And then afterwards, he was like, oh, I'm going to be sick. And then they, like, suddenly held hands, and it was, like, super cute. I was like, oh, that's adorable. That was, like, one of the moments in the book I really liked, was the subtlety of it was just their moment. It wasn't everyone's moment. It was just theirs.
Yeah.
And then after that, like, they had a couple interactions and stuff. The movie where Bram and Simon kissed, I felt so forced. You and I were like, ah!
I think it's because everyone was watching.
It felt very forced.
I would be petrified.
Yes, because, like, in the book, they don't kiss till, like, the last chapter. Like, or second to last chapter.
And it was just the two of them.
It's just the two of them. And then also at the festival, they held hands, and that was kind of like the little moment. In the movie, they went right to kissing, and it was just kind of like, no subtlety.
But
no
you gotta have that fairy tale moment. Like, you know what? Sleeping Beauty, Prince Philip just strolls right up. He's like, sleeping chick, I'ma kiss her.
That is so true. Kiss the sleeping princess.
Snow White, she's 14. She's sleeping. Give her a smooch. Wake her right up.
Or like Rapunzel. You know.
Simon and Bram, they're both awake.
Oh yeah, doesn't Aurora, like, from Sleeping Beauty wake up, like, pregnant or something? In the
original?
Yeah.
She wakes up because she just gave birth to twins and one of them bites her finger.
That's right. Yeah, I thought she, like, woke up because she was pregnant. No, she woke up
Can we talk about how problematic this is? What?
Like, it's just like, oh, okay, thanks, Brothers Grimm.
Like, you just wake up, oh, I have twins now.
Oh, sick.
Oh, and their
I'm a mom now without even knowing it.
Their father is married.
Oh, sick.
They got the Grimm's brothers got they got graphic.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's another time.
Another day.
I definitely want to delve into the Grimms. I kind of want to make it into either just one giant podcast.
Girls with nails.
Did you forget we're doing the podcast?
Yes.
I was thinking of, like, doing, like, Brothers Grimm podcast, like, maybe, like, 1 or 2 parts.
I guess.
I think that'd be pretty fun.
Let's do the thing.
I'm just trying to think of anything else we need to talk about in this book.
Jade, are you alive? Yeah. Thank you. By the way, Jade's our berry, I decided.
Hello, world.
You're our berry.
Our Barry.
Berry!
Barry!
What?
Berry!
Barry!
Games Grumps, if any. Game Grumps.
I feel like, who would be John? Probably you. I'd be Aaron because I get mad at everything. I'm like, what the heck?
We're gonna play Tulip.
We're gonna play Tulip.
Sonic 06.
I went down this tunnel. I found a man with just head and feet. He made me kiss an onion lady. We went to space for a bit. I knew this day would come. We'll get to back on topic.
Yes.
I felt like this book had no subtlety.
No.
None. Non-existent, hand-holding, and super obvious interactions. Didn't feel satisfied. It felt cheated of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something I felt because my whole issue is that there are moments where Bram shows up, all of them which are labeled blue in my book, which is like 5 parts.
You're like, blue, it's blue. Oh my gosh, he got a perfect grade on his English test. It's blue.
It's blue! But,
Blues.
the interactions between Bram and Simon before he knew it was blue, before they knew who each other were, super obvious because he kind of like go out of his way to explain like, oh, Bram's so cute, there's something between us, I feel like a heat between us, blah, 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 and I blush every time he talks to me.
But Kale, though.
Kale,
Kale was just a red herring.
Yeah. Kale was kind of like, oh, is he the potential candidate? Oh, he's not? Okay, throw him in the dumpster,
I
bye.
would have loved it if it was Martin. And just instead of outing him, Martin was like, it was me.
It was me all along. There was actually a moment in the book where Simon thought it was Martin for like a short minute.
Martin was like, this is my
Then he realized all my emails are timestamped. And I figured out that it wasn't Kale or Martin because they were at the play with me when Blue sent these emails. So it can't be Blue. Like, I'm like, well, duh.
Blue's Clues.
Blue's Clues.
We just found a clue. Let's sit in our chair. Okay.
Overall, for the book,
yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
I'm a little
This book
hungry.
sucked.
It was terrible.
It was not my favorite.
The movie was decent.
The movie was decent.
Originally, we weren't going to talk about this first because we were like, let's talk about something we liked first. And then we were like, just kidding.
Just kidding. I wanted to throw this in the dumpster and light it on fire. But, I mean, it was on sale at Target. I figured, why not?
Yeah. I
have movie access. I think we're good.
Yeah.
So, it was... Overall, I invested $7. Not worth it. I want my $7 back.
I want my $7 back.
I want my $7 back so I can get Subway for lunch.
So I can go buy another copy of Loader.
Loader?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh!
Lord of the Rings.
Wow, Abby.
Loader.
Oh my god. Loader, yeah.
Loader.
Yes.
Loader.
We both have like at least 3 box sets of Lord of the Rings. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but like sad as
It's a problem.
that's a problem.
It's fine.
But yes, I have all my notebooks all beside me. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about the book?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
We can put that to rest.
Yeah, so overall review for the movie, it was fine.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was a teen rom-com. It was cute.
Well acted. Well filmed.
Well filmed. Although I felt the color palette was very bland. The color palette, I didn't see like anything special with the color palette. As for the book, it was a garbage fire. Upon a garbage fire. Upon a pile of crap. And
Oh no!
It's up there with least favorite books like what was it? Maze Runner.
Oh my gosh.
Those were trash.
Maze Runner.
It's up there with that.
So bad.
And no, just to clarify, we have nothing against homosexuality. We have nothing against blah blah blah.
Well, no, which is why I liked the movie. It's just how it's portrayed. I didn't think the book portrayed it well. I think the movie portrayed it well.
Yeah, the movie had more flow to it. This had a lot of bumps and bruises.
A couple potholes.
Maybe like a couple like gash wounds where the blood comes out.
What?
You know, like bumps and bruises. You know,
I think
a couple
the movie
stab wounds.
Yeah, the movie portrayed it a little bit more realistically. I think the book was just like bad rom-com minus the com because
the comedy was a little forced. Although I did like Martin in the movie.
I liked Mark. Yeah, except for the fact that he did a terrible thing.
Yeah, he did out Simon.
That was a terrible thing.
Whatever. I kind of like whatever. I honestly, I love. Oh, excuse me. Oh God. Pardon my yawning, but I can get past it.
Yeah.
I can get past it because he was a funny comedic character. He was
can't
awkward.
get past it because I think that's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, but again, it's fiction.
Yeah.
It's a
Gotta
fiction
love
novel.
it. We love it. It's fiction. Whoa.
There are kids screaming outside the window.
Yes, children.
Children,
Enjoy
you're
your
interrupting
life.
our podcast, you little brats, and your weird pink umbrella.
That's so mean.
So now that it's gonna have screaming in our podcast, how do you feel about that?
I like it.
It sounds like we have like torture victims in the other room.
Oh, that just got dark. No, it's the cries of happy children in the rain.
Yes.
Maybe catching Pokemon.
All right.
I don't know. Okay.
So, for our next podcast, we'll see what's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do not dump your tea down the sink.
Yeah, don't dump your tea down the sink.
Drink it.
Drink it, even when it's cold. Drink it.
Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Put it in the microwave.
Put it in the microwave. Although it might burn your hand, you don't want to get burns like my mom did.
Oh. Yeah, be smart about it.
You be smart.
Pot holders.
Don't do drugs. Stay in school. Eat your teeth.
Just don't drink underage. Did you say eat your teeth?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Erin from Game Grumps. All right. Well, thank you so much. You guys have a lovely afternoon.
Yeah.
All right. See you later.
Bye.